Tensions between moderate and conservative flanks of the Liberal Party have been aggravated by yesterday's defection of South Australian Senator Cory Bernardi. Senator Bernardi's decision to split and sit as a Conservative independent is stirring debate over whether the Liberal Party should alter course. Assistant Minister Angus Taylor is engaged in that debate. He's speaking to National Affairs correspondent Greg Jennett in Canberra.
Well, Angus Taylor, Cory Bernardi's sudden departure has obviously unsettled the party. Do you join those in Liberal ranks who are demanding that he resign from the Parliament?
Yeah, look, Greg, I think he did the wrong thing. I mean, he got 2,000 votes out of 1.1 million in South Australia, and I don't think that's a mandate to be an independent in the Senate or to form his own party in the Senate. So I think he has done the wrong thing. I do recognise that there are many Conservatives across Australia who are traditionally Liberal Party supporters that are upset about one thing or another and are supporting him in this venture. But the truth is that he has done the wrong thing, and there is no shortage of room within the Liberal Party for people with conservative values.
I will explore the Conservative landscape and where the Liberal Party sits with that at the moment. But just on Cory Bernardi, I know parties have considered this before in the case of lower house departures and the costs that come with by-elections. Is there any point in seeking repayment of some of the campaigning costs, at least asking Cory Bernardi for it, even if he didn't come good with that?
Well, I think the really important point, Greg, is whether he has, or question is whether he has a mandate to be an independent or to have his own party in the Senate. And I think the answer to that is very clear. With 2,049 votes out of 1.1 million, it's just he doesn't.
All right. Is the Liberal Party federally honouring, through its policies, its conservative values?
Yeah, look, I think we are. I think we are. And you know, Malcolm Turnbull has governed, as all Liberal Prime Ministers should govern, for the broad spectrum of Australians and the broad spectrum within the Liberal Party. I mean, we do combine these Liberal and Conservative traditions, and I think Malcolm has been extremely respectful of that. Now, you know, there are all sorts of things that are going on around the world and in Australia, but particularly around the world, that mean that, you know, the conservative side of political parties around the world is energised and trying to work out where the world's going. And so all of this can be confusing. It can mean that people take a view about politics and where they should be playing that they haven't in the past. And you know, we've got to understand that. It's a very, very important dynamic at work. But ultimately, the important point here is that Malcolm Turnbull is governing for all Australians and is reflecting the full spectrum of values in the Liberal Party.
Well, you say energised. Another way to put it is that it's the right flank, the Conservative flank of disaffection, which is taking the biggest bite electorally out of major parties. And it's that Cory Bernardi's responding to. We're seeing it through One Nation as well. That is where you're exposed, isn't it?
Well,
and
look,
what do you do to rectify that?
I think about it quite differently. I think around the world right now, it is a good time to have a party, to be in a party that reflects conservative values. You know, across Europe, the UK, the US, the left is in trouble, frankly, and it is a good time to have a party that reflects a combination, as we do, of Liberal and Conservative values.
They don't see those answers coming from the major and established parties, evidently.
Well, I think, you know, we've got to keep working to convince them, and it's very important that we do that. But if you look at the policies and the sorts of things we're pursuing, you know, our position on energy policy, for instance, you know, I think our very strong focus on affordability and security is absolutely the right focus and absolutely in line with conservative values.
What else would you like to see your party doing and saying that appeals to, if not One Nation voters, just traditional Conservatives who may be pondering going elsewhere with their vote?
Look, I think the really important point at the moment is that people want opportunity across the board. You know, there is a sense that if you live in the middle of our capital cities, there's lots of opportunity. There's jobs. You know, you probably already own a house and you've been able to buy into it. If you live in the outer suburbs or in the regions, that sense of opportunity is not as strong. And what we're doing with our childcare policies, we've been talking about today, with our enterprise tax policy, with our industrial relations reforms, are all about creating opportunities for families, for small businesses, for the construction sector, and that opportunity creation for all Australians is absolutely the key. People have to have access to political and economic opportunity, and that's what we've got to focus on.
And noting that, do you regard it as an own goal when fellow Liberals start talking about revisiting questions like same-sex marriage policy?
Well, look, I think we took a position on that before the election. That position has been consistent, and we should hold that position. And, you know, it is. I don't think we need to debate it. That's our view. Now, as we've seen with Darren Hinch, the view of the Senate may well evolve over time, and we should hold our position and continually work to get the Senate on board with us.
All right, just finally, will Malcolm Turnbull be leader at the end of this year?
Yes.
All right. Angus Taylor, thank you.
Thanks.